I've long worked in a pediatric emergency department, and it's our belief that the emergency department should be a proactive part of the public health continuum. And it was in that spirit that we set out to develop a very short and yet sensitive tool to screen teenagers and young adults who might be at risk for suicide. And we did that by comparing a series of questions to a much longer gold standard questionnaire. And what emerged from that work were just 4 simple questions that clinicians working in emergency departments can use to screen teenagers and young adults for a risk for suicide. So our initial work focused on developing this brief screening instrument to identify teenagers and young adults at risk for suicide in emergency departments. The next layer of work, which we presented recently at the pediatric research meetings in Washington, D.C., focused on what means this group, these at-risk kids, might have for actually completing suicide. So we asked about guns. We asked a few simple questions about whether the children had access to guns, whether they knew how to, where the guns might be, and whether they knew where the bullets to go in the guns might be. And we were surprised to find that nearly 1 in 5 of these kids had access to firearms in their own home. And of that group, nearly 30% knew where the guns were, knew how to access them, and knew where to access the bullets that go in the guns. And this can be a dangerous and volatile mixture when you have potentially at-risk teenagers and young adults at risk for suicide and weapons in the home, because we know that nearly 1/2 of all completed suicides among young people involve firearms. So taken together, these findings are alarming. There's a large proportion of kids at risk for suicide presenting to emergency departments in our country, and a large proportion of them have access to firearms in their home. A dangerous, volatile mix that parents not only need to be aware of, but need to act on to protect their kids.